Welcome back to the Thrive 45 Method podcast with me, your host, nutritionist Stacey Nicole Smith. And this is the space where we talk all things weight loss and wellness for the woman in perimenopause and menopause. Now, let's get started with today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, today we are talking about how you are not broken, but your weight loss strategy is just simply outdated. So if you are a woman over 45 and the things you used to do to lose weight are no longer working, it's simply because your hormones changed, your strategy didn't. So it's just a strategy mismatch. So we're going to get into that today. And if you want more in depth, I also put together a free guide for you guys, Fat Loss Over 45, exclusive to women over 45. If you want that guide for free to go a little more in depth, just comment guide and I will send that to you. But first things first, so why they're not working? Well, our hormones certainly changed. And so the old things we used to do, we need to adjust them. So the old things, of course, are the common ones, right? Like cutting calories, they're all restrictive. Cutting calories lower and lower, eliminating carbs, intermittent fasting, and then that doesn't work, so you fast for even longer. So it's just like, as women, we put ourselves through more and more restriction. And it's because we're stuck in that old thought of, energy in, energy out. I must burn off more than I take in. And the fact of the matter is, those things are considered stressful to the body. And as we're going into these hormonal changes of perimenopause and then menopause, with the decrease and fluctuation of estrogen and progesterone, at the same time that increases cortisol, the stress hormone. So now our bodies are more sensitive to stress. And so these restrictive ways of losing weight, the calories, cutting them lower and lower, excessive exercise, cutting carbs, intermittent fasting, these are viewed as stressors to the body. Body is more sensitive to stress. So what happens? We have a stronger stress response, which means our cortisol goes up. And I think we all know cortisol by now is that stress hormone, and it's famously known for putting fat right on the belly, the menopause belly, right? But here's the other thing. Cortisol is closely tied to our blood sugar. And we are more sensitive, of course, to blood sugar fluctuations at this time. So I think one of the important things to recognize at this time, this is not a calorie problem, but we're trying to give it a calorie solution. That's why it's a mismatch. This is a hormone communication problem. So most simply, when our cortisol is a little out of whack, stress hormone, this impacts our blood sugar. Our blood sugar impacts our insulin. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. So instead of restricting more and more, I always want you to remember this one. You cannot starve your way to hormonal health. Can't do it. We have to support our body to hormonal health. And when we have hormonal health and our signals are firing properly, that's when our body's going to have the signals to calm down those food cravings. It's going to have signals to have our hunger cues signaling properly so we don't have excess hunger. And it's going to signal properly with the blood sugar and insulin response to release stored fat and have our new food that we intake burned off as energy instead of being stored as fat. So when you can see it this way, it's a hormone communication issue and you can't starve your way to hormonal health, it becomes a lot easier to unlock that mindset and say, okay, so I need to eat to support my hormones. Although I know for women, it can be a hard adjustment in the beginning because we're used to the restrictive diets. Like that's what we've been taught and told our whole lives. But the thing is, we're not 20, 30 years old anymore. And I would even suggest that the only reason they worked back then, short term, is because our bodies were able to handle a lot more than they can handle now. So what we want to do at this age is we want to be supporting our hormonal system. So you're like, okay, great, sounds good. How do I do that? Well, there's a whole host of things we can do, but I'm going to give you some basics today to get you started to at least build a solid base, because you got to start with doing something, right? And so these are some simple things you can do. So the first thing is you do not want to be skipping meals. And again, I know it's a mindset, and you're like, well, the longer I can go without eating, that means less calories, that means more weight loss. But if you've already done that, you've probably noticed that that doesn't work. Or maybe you can lose a little bit of weight in the short term and then you gain it right back. So instead, we're going to get to the root of this. And I always say, especially for women, the fastest path to overeating is undereating. And a lot of women do this, and I see it all the time, is they don't eat enough during the day thinking they're being good. And then by the end of the day, you don't have any willpower left. It's run out by the end of the day, you're freaking tired, and then you just overdo it at the end of the night. Instead, what you want to do is you want to be sure you're having your meals. And that's the 3 meals a day. Sounds kind of boring, but you know what? It works. But it's what you're having in those meals that also really matters. And one of those things that's important is protein. And everybody's talking about it. Some people are talking about it in the wrong sense with the wrong types of foods, but for the most part, this is absolutely true. So you want to make sure you're having enough protein 3 times a day with each of your meals. And you want to aim for at least 20 grams of protein, but better is 30. And the reason for this is, there's many, but in the most simplest forms, is having enough protein throughout the day, your 3 meals a day, sometimes 4, depending on your lifestyle and your activity level, is going to help to balance that blood sugar so that you're not having those cravings. And so it's going to keep your energy levels more steady. But also, protein has a higher thermic effect of food. It means it takes longer to break it down. So it's going to keep you feeling fuller for longer as well. So that's a base to start. So you want to be having, make it simple. Let's say 30 grams of protein 3 times a day, spaced out, good quality protein, no processed stuff. So that's one. And the next thing that a lot of women overlook, because everybody's talking about protein, yes, you need it. But a lot of what women are overlooking is they're thinking, oh, protein, I'll just do keto. Girl, no, because we also need fiber. And fiber comes in the form of carbs. So we'll touch on that another day, which we have in the past. If you want to look back, you can see that. But carbs are essential as well for weight loss at this age. But today we're just talking about protein 3 times a day, 30 grams a day, 30 grams with each meal. Keep it simple. And then you want to have the fiber, because the fiber is going to be good for gut health, which is good for hormonal health, and obviously good for, digestion, regularity, bloating, that sort of stuff. And again, to keep it simple, I'll give you a simple number: 30 grams a day. 30 grams of protein 3 times a day, 30 grams of fiber a day. That's a simple base for you guys. But if anything, I want to impress upon you the most is that restriction at this age can and many times will backfire on you. So first is a mindset click to recognize you can't starve your way to hormonal health. It's not a calorie problem, it's a hormone communication problem. And again, we're just touching on the basics here today and a couple of quick things. But if you want more in-depth for weight loss exclusive to women over the age of 45 or women in perimenopause and of course menopause, just comment below guide. I put together a free guide for you, Fat Loss Over 45, and this is fat loss that deals with the hormonal fluctuations for women that we are dealing with at this age. Anyway, hope that helps you guys. Comment guide if you want it, and any other questions, leave them below and I will be sure to answer them for you. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, please be sure to like and subscribe to be notified when new episodes are released. Episodes like this are released weekly for all things weight loss and wellness with a woman in perimenopause and menopause. And for other ways I can help you, please be sure to visit the show notes or visit my bio. Thanks for listening. Bye.